remember the first time my mom caught me watching gay porn, which was wild. I sparked up the dial-up internet and thought I should look up big black dicks and thought that was okay. Like my mama wasn't in the other room.
AOL.com.
And she woke up hearing this. And she was like, what are you doing? And I remember getting caught being like, I just wanted to compare.
Hi, I'm Yvie Oddly, and if you don't know who I am already, you're probably driving a Tesla. I'm a drag queen, a shit stirrer, and the weirdest winner of RuPaul's Drag Race.
I'm Ben O'Keefe, recovering political strategist, Oscar shortlisted filmmaker, and Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree, and very humble. I've shaped presidential campaigns, I've taken on billion-dollar brands like Abercrombie & Fitch, and I have built a platform, turning hot takes into real change.
I'm Ryan Mitchell, a lover of all things culture. I'm an entertainment media consultant at GLAAD, a culture critic, and the NFL's first LGBTQ brand ambassador because gay sports, and also clock that. Hello. Welcome to High Key.
Yes, I'm Ben O'Keefe.
I'm Ryan Mitchell.
And I'm Yvie Oddly.
Today, for our very first episode, we are going to introduce ourselves by digging into a juicy question about queerness.
But first, I think it's time we have a little bit of a high key. High key.
I know like a secret, I thought was a secret that became then like a close friend's Instagram thing, which is like, Ryan, you were seeing someone.
Wow, first of all, clock my tea, telling my business. We bringing it here to the show. But it's over. It's done. We went on 2 dates, and those 2 dates were really wonderful. And I felt like I was finally connecting with someone. He was like the first person that I met on the dating apps that I hadn't been on in like 6 months because I hate it. And the chemistry was just really nice, and the energy was really good, and the first date was
happy.
romantic.
Like you were really into him.
Yeah, everything
also,
was
like
going
the way
good.
you described this man, I was like, lock it in, sis. Get pregnant. He is what? He was like
6'6". He like,
oh my God.
I'm not gonna disclose what he does for work, but
Yeah, 6'6".
But it's very impressive.
Yeah,
His bank
I'm telling you,
account
it's like
number
very
was
impressive.
a new electric Audi, the little S, like it was very cute. Anyway, the material things don't matter to me, but
wow, yeah, clearly.
But he just wanted to slow it down because he needed to like check in with himself and like figure out why he was having like this intense swing of emotions. And I was like, I don't know what else to say to that. Like being like, okay, I understand. I'm happy you're putting yourself first. I respect that because don't bring that chaos over here. But it's just, it made me really feel like so stupid that I kind of like was so thinking about the possibilities of this being like a legit real thing.
You're not stupid.
So at the end of the day, this is what I've been dealing with on top of all the other things in my life, which I get we all go through things, but like, I don't know. And maybe I'm destined to be single. Who knows? We'll see.
No, you're not destined to be single.
Yeah, you are. We're all born alone and we all die alone.
Did you say yes, you are?
Yeah, you're going to die alone.
What?
Evie's not the friend to go to for these things. But I mean, like, I think it's like a people thing generally too. Like, I've been thinking this week, it's like, obviously, like, yes, you're going through that, but we also have a lot of good things. Like, we just launched the show that we're recording right now, and I know that we're going to have, like, literally, I think when this airs, the billboard is going up in Times Square, right? Like, This is a big thing. Like, this is wild. And like, I know for all three of us, it's such a dream. But what's been really interesting is, we launched the trailer last week. And what I was kind of thinking of, it's kind of along the same lines, is like, all these people started reaching out that like hadn't talked to me in years. Like, hey, how are you? Oh, I miss you. We should meet up. Oh, by the way, congratulations on your iHeart podcast.
Well,
you know
granted,
what I mean?
you have been like in the cut. Like people, you haven't really been as active except for in your stories. So
That's
maybe
true.
the
I
people
mean,
have
I
been
hid
missing
away
you.
because that's because like, to be honest with you, I deleted 1,000 posts on my Instagram, like hid away because I was losing weight. I lost 175 pounds and like, I didn't want to be perceived by the world at that time. So like I did hide away, and I will take ownership for that. But it feels like sometimes people only want to be in your life when things are going good. You know what I'm saying? And like, maybe I was too in my feelings, but that's how I was feeling this week. I was like, oh, like I could have really used this 6 months ago.
No, but that is a kind of just like a human sentiment. I feel it's naturally ingrained in us, not only because people do intimately feel like they're a part of your story. So whenever you see somebody else whose story you're a part of, like doing well, you just want to be like, hey, I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
I'd love to tell you how proud I am of you. And also, like, you know, it boils down to the fact that they are thinking of you. They're thinking of you because they see you. They see you out in the spaces. They see your face more than they ever did before. Like,
I'm taking it too personally. Right?
Well, and also, you got to remember the algorithm betrays us so much where people don't see you as often as we would want them to. And so when we do have a big moment that it will just somehow, you know, magically hits in the algo, it's like, oh, where the hell they been? Like, I had a lot of people kind of do that same thing with me. So hopefully with this show, the algorithm doesn't betray us and everybody sees it and wants to like
it's why I had to hold back from having hissy fits on the slut apps when gays would be like, oh my God, you were in town for a show? Where is it? And I'm like, it was yesterday.
It's true. It's kind of like
I'm your biggest fan. It was
obviously
yesterday.
not. Well, it's like we did that. I guess folks don't know because we did them privately, but we recorded a bunch of like kind of test episodes, so we wouldn't kind of just like fall into this never having practice. And we did that one conversation about friendships. You remember? I think it's going to be on the Patreon.
I hope.
Yeah, subscribe to the Patreon, by the way. And it kind of reminds me of that because we call so many people friends, and like, what does it really mean to be a friend? And I guess like what we kind of unpacked was like, friendship varies by person, and like we all have our own lives and we all have our own things going on. I guess it's just like, and this is also another conversation we had about like asking for help. It was like, oh man, I wish maybe I should have like said something. If I was missing people, like I guess I could have reached out too. And I guess I could have made that effort as well. But it's just, it's interesting. Things are changing. And I think things are going to change in your relationship based on this new proximity to visibility that you have, Ryan. Not as if you haven't been doing things for years and years, but this is a big deal. And like,
now,
I think all the gays are going to come out of the woodworks.
I think this, this is what happens in general. It's like anytime you do something cool, people are going to be there for you. And that's
Didn't you do something cool, Yvie? I thought you won something.
Your heart and your mind.
Yeah, touche. And you won my heart, but you also make me cry. Yvie commented the other day on Instagram. I was like, I can't wait to make you cry more on the show. And I was like, oh, you will.
Oh my God.
In so many ways. In so many ways.
I know it's also Pride for both of you because like you're professional gays and we've talked in the past about how busy it can be. I don't do Pride stuff anymore. I used to host stages and go to events. I'm not gay anymore, guys, as we just discussed. But you two are professional gays. So I want to hear about Pride.
Yeah, it's low-key kind of overwhelming, especially this year. Normally I feel like I have it all together. I am a host of a music festival that is a part of WeHo Pride, West Hollywood Pride, called Out Loud. And I'm very excited about it this year. The lineup's great, but I just feel so unprepared. And then also on top of like everything else that surrounds Pride, like I fell into kind of being a corporate gay. Like somehow my identity became the way that I made checks and a living. And like anytime that I like turn on the news, I'm seeing our rights and everything that actually has to do with identity being taken away every 5 fucking seconds. And so it's one of those things where I'm like, I try to like disassociate from it and just kind of push through and be like, okay, let's get these 3 days over. And if something else pops up, like a Pride panel where you got to talk about the thing, which I haven't done a Pride panel in so long because I like stopped. I was like refusing to do them because at some point we were just saying the same things over and over and over again. And I was just over. I was like, there's no way I can like remix this, give y'all a little moment. No, I'm tired of it. And y'all ain't really paying that much money.
Girl, see,
you know?
That's like the issue overall with Pride for me is it feels like what I can expect at the end of a drag show now, you know, where I know that if somebody doesn't, then it's my job to come up and say kind of all the same things that people have already known, and that I personally feel a lot of like queer progressives are just really good at beating down people's throats, which is like, we're here and we're queer and our rights are being taken away. And also don't forget about Palestine. And also like, you know, there's just like a plethora of things that it feels like when you're a professional gay, it is your duty to touch on hitting, when the reality of it is that Pride is this protest that comes from the fact that your existence is not allowed. And they're making it clearer and clearer every day.
And drag queens are low-key like the Mickey Mouses of gay clubs.
Exactly.
Like, y'all are like an amusement of some sorts, right? And I would imagine that it actually, you have to kind of like take yourself out of it and just come do the job that you're, you know, hired to do, because it could be, I would imagine, draining, right?
Well, because it's extremely
another club. But, like,
well, it's weird when it's like another club, and your primary job is to turn the party and to make sure that people are feeling themselves. But you also know that in Pride season, people really are looking for a reason that we're all together. And for me, it's just recently been like, I am thankful to be sharing joy here. I don't want to talk too much about what the world is doing, because we already know. Remember this space and remember this time. Remember that smile that you had, and like remember what brought it to you, because this is the shit they can't erase. So I find Pride itself to be a little bit draining in one way, going around and kind of just repeating the same message. But on the other hand, I lose myself so deeply in these events, in these gigs, specifically because I remember being like a queer going to my first Pride.
I was just thinking about that. My first Pride, I was working at Hard Rock and I was doing the bartender, because Hard Rock downtown, and I was like passing out shots and things like that, like are getting people to buy like liquor. And it was Nashville Pride, and I had never been to Nashville Pride. I didn't even really knew it was existed in some ways. And when I was there, I kind of was like, wow, like this was like amazing to know that there's like so many queer people, this concert's happening. And sometimes I wish, like, when this season comes around, like, I'm so grateful to be able to do what I do and to be able to be on a main stage and like rock it and kill it. But like, I do miss the innocence of just experiencing this world that I had never experienced before. I don't think you'll ever get that again once you're kind of in the cycle of it all.
Well, because we live our lives every day not really seeing queer people represented like that. Like, yeah, you see that one gay guy on the bus, you know, that one bank teller, is a they, them, whatever. Like, but there's nothing like coming out into a world and being like, oh no, we exist everywhere. There's so many of us. Like, I don't know where all these roaches crawled out from under, but like they're out in the streets and they're waving flags now. What's your experience like, Ben? Because you might not be a professional gay anymore, but I know you still get thrown into some Pride mix.
I do. I mean, and like I've had all sorts of like of Pride experiences. I've been thinking about two things. One, I've been thinking about like corporations in Pride, and now like Prides are struggling to pay their bills because there aren't corporations in Pride. But for a long time, we didn't want corporations to be in Pride, and now I'm like struggling with that. I remember I did a Pride gig for Foot Locker, and I literally had to sue them to get my payment. It was it was wild. Like my face is plastered with little rainbows. I'm like, and like I can't get my like $1,500. You know what I mean? And so like I've had a lot of burned experiences, but then like the Pride that I remember the most is I was hosting a New York City Pride stage right after the Pulse shooting, and I'm from Orlando, Florida. Pulse was the first gay club I ever went to. I'll never forget that morning waking up and having to call like exes and friends and all sorts of people to wonder if they were there. And unfortunately, I did lose a friend in Pulse. And it was weird because I was on this stage and we were like flanked by guys with like snipers and like machine guns and all of this stuff. And I was reminded, like, to be queer is to be unsafe at all times. But to be queer in community, it's like, that's where the safety was. And like, I didn't feel safer because of those guns. Like, I felt safer because of the people that were marching by me because like I knew that if something happened, we would fight for each other. And so I think I'm just like really, I'm a New Yorker. Like I think I walk by Stonewall all the time. I think about the radical nature of Pride. And for me, it's like Pride is a protest. And like, Yvie, I think your point's super important. Joy is super important. And like joy is an important part of protest, an important part of being an activist.
Well, it's the number one thing that they're going to try and strip. They're going to strip every smile of a drag queen with a child.
And to have joy in this time is radical. Yeah. And that is the ultimate kind of fuck you to the folks who want to see us struggle, is like by living authentically, radically, by being a slut, if that's you, Yvie, by being by being whatever it is that you need to do to be your queer self, that's what you're allowed to do. Like that's what Pride is to me. So I'll always love Pride.
And I think Pride is remembering that we get to do this sort of celebration on the back of like trans women of color.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think when people talk about Marsha P. Johnson or like Sylvia, and there's these moments where, I think it is queer history, but I, as a Black queer person, I'm like, actually, that's like Black queer history, that the fact that we had these like two incredible like icons leading the march of like being heard and like listened to, and like at the end of their lives, people forgot about that work. People forgot about them. And for me, it's hearing like, especially around this time, like a lot of like cis white gays, shout out to y'all, we love you, but also like, we can't just, this isn't bros. You can't just do like the bring up Marsha P. Johnson as a straight 101 so everyone knows. I need us to realize like Pride is here, and the things that we get to do is because of a lot of things that, queer and trans women of color, Black women specifically, have led and done. And so for me, it's also remembering that and challenging folks to not co-opt what this is. This is a time to do boppers, but also it's a time to remember while you're doing boppers.
Yeah, exactly. Don't hit the bottle too hard, mama.
Who gave you the right to those poppers? Black trans women. But it's so true. We have to remember our history, and we are so bad at that as queer people. And how do we have a future if we don't remember our past? And it's not just a party. Pride is not just a party. You protest and then you party and celebrate after.
All right, y'all, I think we need to take a break.
Yes, we do. And when we get back, we are digging into the good part of the episode. When we don't have guests, this is what we do. We dig into a big question, a big idea, something that's burning in our heads. And all this gay shit is making me think of a big question, which is, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see when you come back. So we'll see you in a second.
High Key.
Welcome back to High Key. I think we need to turn up the heat a little bit, ladies, and go deep. And you know how we do, but our audience doesn't. Every so often, when it's just us, no special guest, we like to have a conversation about a big idea that is on our hearts or on our minds or a little bit of both. And this week, I have a question that I think is going to introduce us pretty well.
Okay.
And it's, what's the gayest thing about you?
Wow, who put you in charge of icebreakers? Because, whoa!
Just the classic Zoom icebreaker, basically.
Wow. Okay, let's do this. I mean, there's a few things that make me like the gayest thing. I mean, the fact that I can like pick a charmed episode and season just by what they're wearing in a screenshot is kind of super gay. I also think, my style is super gay in a lot of different ways, right? I mean, even as a kid, like the ways that I use style as like a vehicle. I didn't have the language for it, but I use style as a vehicle to like get away from the norms of what my mom was trying to put on me as like this Black, kid growing up. Like she wanted me down in FUBU and the South Pole, which I did wear, everyone. That was a very comfortable South Pole sweater with the blue that I'm kind of sad I don't have anymore. But she really was like wanting me to kind of dress as the other boys, as she would say. But I was like, absolutely not. Take me down to the Avenue. I'm going to American Eagle, and I'm going to the the Hollisters and all the kind of like the
You were about to say Abercrombie and Fitch.
I was, but I didn't want to trigger him.
I was on the call.
I didn't want to trigger him in. I don't need Abercrombie sending us a cease and desist because of Ben. But no,
Not again.
Not again. But I think about one, those things kind of being like the gayest things about me besides like, I'm not even really connected to the word gay.
Ooh,
see, that's how I feel.
Said,
that's
I'm
how
not one
I
of those
feel.
gays.
But I
queer.
think about it. Like I grew up. Well, exactly. Like I grew up conservative Catholic family, right? Like I was like, gays are going to hell. It took me a long time to feel comfortable in my own identity, and then it was like, oh, I'm gay, and I want the Mr. and Mr. pillows, and I'm like ready.
You driving
for
the bus to hell.
Absolutely. Honk, honk, bitch, right? I was like a Glisten student ambassador. I like forged my mom's signature so I could fly to LA and like be media trained to be a professional gay while being in the closet. I was proud of being gay. I was in a relationship with, at the time, who I thought was a man for a very long time. But what a lot of people don't know about me is my partner is actually a trans woman and transitioned about 5 years. Maddie, transitioned about 5 years into our 9-year relationship. And I'm writing an essay about it now, but basically it's so interesting because it was this like, it's like, well, I'm dating a trans woman and trans women are women. So I'm dating a woman.
Are you not gay no more, bro?
Am I not gay no more? But
that's how you cure homosexuality. You date trans women.
And or just be queer. Which is more like queer, a feeling and experience than anything.
What I really wanted the original question to be, but I thought this question would open us up more, is like, is being queer a choice? And I think it's like a controversial take because it's like being gay is not a choice and we were born this way. Totally, sure. But like when I think about what it means to be queer, it's more than just about who I sleep with. It's like this way that I see the world. It's like this identity. And it's why like even sometimes I have a hard time connecting with like gay people or in gay culture because it's like I don't want to go to a circuit party.
Drag them.
I don't want to talk about working out.
Drag them.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I have this like I'm both. Okay, I'm both. I am gay and I'm queer. I think
and a he and a she.
Yeah, I'm a he. I'm a she. I'm an it. They them. I am the problem. Like that's just what it always meant for me to find this community, whatever we want to call it. I remember coming out eventually as gay and being like, yeah, that's what I'm going to tell people. And then I realized that I was a drag queen, which made me some facet of trans because I was now just a femme. Like,
did it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gender nonconforming at minimum.
In these 13 years, I've seen so much shift in the culture. When I started doing drag, it was something you did closetedly. Like at least you didn't tell people that you did drag because drag queens were not allowed to be anything but drag queens outside of that space. It's something that does still exist to an extent. Like where I bet you, I promise there's so many drag queens on the slut apps right now who are trying not to tell guys what they do for a living.
The reason why I had like kind of perked up around that is because, working in like so many like LGBTQ spaces, there are oftentimes even like in our community, especially like cis gay spaces, like they can conflate being a drag performer as a trans person. And like,
sure.
I don't think that's obviously what you were doing, but I'm like, there's that thing where it's like, there is a gender non-conforming ability of being a drag performer, but it's so different than being an explicit trans person.
All this gay culture is just a reflection of the femininity we are not allowed to express, including the side of gay culture that's just rejecting femininity, the mask for mask.
And we're
BS.
getting more and more of that. And that's what kind of scares me is for a while, like I felt like gay cis men, although very complicit in many, parts of toxic masculinity and we've excluded the lesbians and there's all sorts of problems. It was still like, oh, you're a gay man. Like you feel safer to me than like a cis straight man. But the assimilation is deep. And then we're seeing like these MAGA gays, you know what I mean? Who are like white muscle gays who are like no longer what I thought of as like a gay man, I guess.
And that's why I identify with the word queer, because not only is it obviously an experience and a feeling, but I think for me as a Black queer person, it actually allows me to have a little bit of nuance because LGBTQ or LGBT is so rooted in kind of like whiteness and like honestly like low key and oftentimes like pushing like white supremacy forward. And for me, when you're queer, as a Black queer person, you're able to have a little bit of nuance that exists in that space of like, this is how I show up in the world and I experience the world. And for me, like, that is what it means to be queer, because oftentimes, like, I remember the first time that I got my nails done, and that was like fairly like a couple, maybe 2022, when
Was that like a defining moment of your queerness?
Kind of, in some ways. Like, it really was one of those moments, because I just remember going into the nail salon in Pasadena, and it was like Easter weekend on top of that, and I was going with friends, and I was like, I just remember I would go to the nail salon with my mom, but she was like, this ain't for boys, this is for girls, so you sit over there. And so like I remember kind of sitting in that moment, getting my first pedicure and manicure, and being like, wow, like, this feels really nice and wonderful, and I can get designs and I can like show up and express myself in the way that I want to now. And then that also opened the door for me to explore, like, leaning into, you know, they, them pronouns in a way that I had never done, because I felt like it was being placed on me versus me actually like recognizing it within myself. And so like, I feel like queerness for me has always been an experience that's wrapped in the intersections of who I am. And never been something that was just like an umbrella term as some.
Well, that's why I identify as queer, but in that umbrella, I have to accept that a part of me is just a gay man. Even if that's like only on this one Thursday, like this one week at this one time, when Charlie XCX drops this one thing or whatever that every other gay guy is about. And even though I don't want to be a sheep, I'm about too. Like, I feel like there's this ultimate division that's happening, which is why we're seeing a lot of the MAGA gays, where as other more disenfranchised parts of our community are given space, there's this overall groupthink that happens when you are just like not caught up to where everyone is. Like, I remember hearing the word queer in a student services office a decade ago and being like, nah, that shit's not for me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of older gay and lesbian folks who don't like the word queer because it was weaponized. It
was a trigger. It was a slur.
So long. But it was literally weaponized.
That's where I ultimately end up finding my power in it, is being like, yeah, I like the fact that I'm weird and it's everything I represent is about some deviancy. I think that where it loses its power is when people make it so weak, when they're like, when they take away the ability for queer to mean such a vast majority of things, including some boring gay man somewhere.
So wait,
because
who was y'all's gay awakening? Like, did y'all have one?
I feel like mine was probably a cartoon.
Like Bugs Bunny?
No, not like Bugs Bunny.
I
but
mean,
just
Bugs
like,
Bunny is a queer icon. Hold on.
I know, but I wasn't into the bunnies. Do you know what I mean? He can take his carrot. That wasn't for me. But I'm talking about, like, I don't even know who it was, like a superhero or like Robin or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was something like, I feel like for a lot of gay and queer people, it's like these like characters that we were starting to have feelings for. Or it was like that boy on the playground that made me feel a little fuzzy when I was around him or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I didn't have like a moment where I was like, oh, I'm gay. I mean, I guess when I watched gay porn for the first time, I don't know, something like that.
Like, not a celebrity or...
A celebrity.
My celebrity was the Tomcat from the Aristocats.
See what I mean? A cartoon. There we go.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even realize this until a couple weeks back when I was like, oh my gosh, I always wanted that cat. Like, I desired that cat, and not in a like, ooh, I want to fuck that cat sort of way, but more just like, did you hear his voice? Everybody wants to be a cat. Like, that was the jazziest thing. He tried to take care of this other cat's babies.
Or it's like the gay character.
What?
Yeah, sure. Okay. That's bestiality, not queerness.
Well, to be honest, I feel like my gay awakening had to be like a combination of like, y'all remember that show? Like, and I might be like remembering his name wrong, but Jet Jackson? Like, he was like a black, like Disney, like he was kind of like low-key, like a secret agent. And he was doing all these things. And unfortunately, like, he's no longer with us because he passed away due to like taking his own life. But Jet Jackson was an incredible like show that was like a black like secret agent who like solved these missions. He was a teenager and he was like so kind of cool. And he was
When
so
was this?
fine. Y'all don't remember that? I feel like it was like early 2000s. Like,
No,
what?
what's it called?
Did Disney write it
like
out of
Jet
existence?
Jackson. I swear, I like literally,
Jackson.
he is so hot.
Wait, let me not say that out loud.
Oh, Lee Thompson Young.
Yes, Lee Thompson
Yeah.
Young, the famous Jet Jackson.
Oh, he
like,
was handsome.
he
I
is
did not know him from
fine.
that. I knew him from
Yes.
Johnny Tsunami.
Work.
The Disney Channel original. Let's
Work,
watch
work,
a Disney Channel movie. You
Yeah,
know,
like, I
we
get
want to
that.
watch a Disney Channel movie.
But
It's all about
I
that.
say that is because like a lot of times, like when I was experiencing those moments where like I'm seeing someone on TV, or honestly also shout out to every male model that was on the front of an underwear.
The underwear.
Underwear
Exactly.
department.
When you'd
You
walk
know,
through
shout out to them.
Walmart, just like
Because they helped me through a lot.
those rounded bulges. I was like, I want my bulge to look like that.
Not even, oh my goodness, those catalogs really did something to me. But I just remembered because I wasn't allowed to obviously like express myself. Like I was still trying to figure that out. And like, I mean, if I'm being honest, the one time I remember the first time my mom caught me watching gay porn, which was wild because for some reason, literally the first time we wasn't the only, but she was sleeping in like the living room, and I just had this genius idea. The family computer was in her room, but she wasn't in there. We lived in an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. And I don't know what I thought I was doing, but I sparked up the dial-up internet and thought I should look up big black dicks and thought that was okay. Like my mama wasn't in the other room.
AOL.com.
And she woke up hearing that. And she was like, "What are you doing?" And I remember getting caught being like, and I actually think I left it on the screen by accident. Like I just went to bed. And my mom literally hit me up and being like, "What are you like? What is this? Like, what's going on?" She had a really visceral reaction. And I was just being like, I just wanted to compare.
What was your, oh my gosh, what an explanation. Wait,
Okay.
that kind of leads me to like, what was everybody's like coming out experience with your parents?
Triggered. Oh, not good.
I don't know. That's so strange.
How many
Actually,
times?
both of these questions are really hard because there was always a part of me that was just like clearly gay,
Same.
but there was also always a part of me that was just a slut or whatever. Like my gayness was just an extension of these things that I remember being shamed about. Like I was shamed about like fooling around with little kids, boys and or girls. I remember getting caught a few times like in my early childhood. And I think what ultimately made me more queer and more gay is that even though all of this is like a dirty secret that kids are not supposed to talk about, you're just supposed to think your dirty thoughts and like keep them to yourself and not look anything up ever on this new Google machine in front of your mom.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the more that I got to learn that, yeah, we're not allowed to look any of that up, but especially not stuff with little boys. Like you and these other boys are not allowed to like bond in that way that you're starting to make these relationships with women.
I had my
like,
technically first kiss when I was like 5, and a boy and I have a visceral, literally I have a memory of us kissing on the playground. And like we were, you know how they put the movies on, and like at that time you're in school, and I remember trying to lay like my head in his lap because I was clearly like crushing on this boy. And the teacher literally moved me to the back of because she felt like I was being disruptive or whatever. But I remember I have this, like I think we have like an old photo. Anyway, I just remember that being my first moment of being like, oh yeah, like I knew at a very young age that I was queer. I knew that, but like,
but it was
there
the
were so
thing is
many
knowing
stops.
that everybody else wasn't that way. Like even the straight guys I like made out with, I don't know if all of them still identify that way, but like they grew up to be straight, even though we shared these experiences together. And it always made me believe that everyone was just a little gay.
Well, everyone is a little gay. I think we're not ready to
I
have
agree with
that
that.
conversation.
I agree with that. There's a fluidity.
And when I discovered queer some decade later, and then when I came around to it some half decade later, it was because I realized that that's what I was looking for. Everybody is weird, and the things that you make more deviant just become more radicalized in people. Like they hated having gender so much that we tore it up. Like we hated people telling us so much that we just flung it into the air.
I think people like that hate queerness are jealous of it. Are jealous that we are free enough to like be ourselves based not on who you tell us we have to be. It's like queerness is so freeing and liberating to me. It's just like, I am me.
Like, mama, you can choose your own toppings too.
Exactly. And make your own life. Like so many things are just constructs that have been told to us that are right or wrong. But then it's what do you feel? Like you talk about that boy, Ryan. I was like, oh man, there's this boy when we were in elementary school.
You love name dropping, sister.
Yeah,
I do.
I do. I don't care. That's my whole truth. Get ready for my memoir. You have. I'm like. I have a lawyer already like looking over everything. He's like, you can't say that about her. I was like, no, I can because it's the truth. Sorry. I mean, the first boy I ever kissed was in high school, 9th grade. Love him to death. And he kissed me and he ran across the street and we were both like little Catholic raised by Italians, like kind of situation. And it was like, oh my gosh, like it felt so good, but it also felt so wrong. Like I felt like I was going to hell.
Was that like, really your first time, Ben? Because I'm talking like 3 and 4. I remember making out, getting kicked out of daycare.
Oh, y'all were playing like doctor or something. What is going on?
No, that's my thing. It's like I definitely had feelings for people. I grew up in the South. I grew up in a very, very, very conservative area in a very, very conservative family. It was not safe. It was not even something that I viewed as a possibility.
Yeah.
Anytime we saw queer people, it was always like, oh, ugh. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I didn't see
them or think of it as queerness. It was just like playing with other kids.
Where did you grow up?
Denver. Okay.
See, I remember being in the South is like, I agree with Ben on this. Like, it's just
but my family was all Southern Baptist. Like, I was raised Southern Baptist. I still understand what it feels like. And that's also why I understand how shameful it was that they just literally didn't talk when I did these bad things, whether they were with boys or girls or whatever.
Yeah.
My mom was tasked with the responsibility of being like, that's wrong. We don't do that. You need to go sit in timeout. Like,
my mom like threw holy water on me. Like, I'm telling you, like, I knew I was queer and I would have come out in 6th grade. But I went to school with my twin brother. We were in the same grade. We were in the same class. So I couldn't come out at school because then he would go tell my mom, or that's how I felt, right? And so
was he the first person you came out to?
No. The first person I came out to was in church school.
But that's the thing is I didn't even think I was gay. I thought everybody was just a little gay and the game was to just not fall into it. Especially because I still thought I was Christian. I believed in it so deeply. I was like, eventually I'll get better. Yeah, I was
like in middle school. I mean, in middle school too. I feel like
elementary school.
Well, I tried to like I was bullied so bad, and kids would follow me around, bend over, bend gay, like all these things. I almost took my own life in 8th grade. Like I remember like sobbing to my drama teacher, being like, I can't do this anymore because I was getting just harassed relentlessly. I couldn't tell my mom. I couldn't do anything about it, and I felt so trapped. And so like when I think of like being gay and like coming out, I'm so happy that it's getting easier. I'm so happy.
I know.
That, like,
I get so excited seeing all the like promposals of like the queer high school kids asking each other out. Like I had my best friend who I just visited in New York. She was my beard and it's for like high school, right? Like she was my girl. I went like my mom, you know, we wore matching yellow and who I took to prom. And I was honestly, when I got my first car, honey, I was driving her to go see her man that she wasn't allowed to have. And so it was one of those things where I'm like, I constantly want to answer your question, Ben. I constantly have like still feel like I was coming out. Like my mom, I would tell my mom one time and the next minute was like acting like she never like literally remembered. And so like that is a constant thing that I feel like queer folks go through oftentimes, which is why I'm kind of like not a believer in coming out. There's this really beautiful moment that a mentor of mine, Dr. David Johns, who is the executive director of the National Black Justice Coalition, he talks about inviting in instead of like coming out. A person that is like letting us know about who they are, they're inviting us in. We should not have to be like, we should not have to be obligated, because no straight person is obligated to tell us who they like. We shouldn't be obligated to do the same thing. And I find that to be so beautiful and wonderful and necessary to like all the future of queer kids that are coming up behind us.
I mean, maybe that's the future of the expression of what coming out stemmed from then, because coming out, or at least as we now understand it, coming out is something that you do your whole life.
Yeah.
Like you do it anytime you are interacting with another human being and you're either choosing to let them know, like, hey, I am a little queer. I've sucked a dick. I like hair product, whatever it is that makes you queer.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I would love to know what all the listeners, what is the gayest thing about you? Please let us know in the comments on social and all the things, like on TikTok, Instagram, if you're following us at a high key here, because we gotta wrap this up, because now I'm ready to get into our high key. Stick around for it. We'll be back. High key.
Welcome back to High Key.
That sounded like an intro to like Cartoon Network or something.
I'm trying to whore myself out for some voice work here, y'all. You hear that range? Okay, but seriously, let's dive into some real meat, some real juicy things. What are you high key looking forward to? What are you high key about?
Okay, so I mean, here's the thing. I feel like this section of the show will always be like, obviously, it'd be a combination of things, of what we're feeling, of like what we're recommending to the world to do.
Girl, you better recommend it to me.
Yeah, I know, right? What the hell? However, I am actually I think I'm actually low-key, like high-key, not even low-key. I'm high-key in my hater era, because all the praise that show Overcompensating is getting is giving me major side eye. So if y'all don't know about this show, Overcompensating is a new like college. It follows this college jock that's coming out. It's on Prime Video. Benito Skinner, also known as Benny Drama, influencer, all the things. He's starring in it, cis white gay jock. And everyone like loves it. I saw this show months ago, and immediately was kind of like, what in the 2003 is going on here? Like, I get it's funny. The jokes can like, it's really funny. I think it's like really made for like the TikTok of it all, which is why it's like succeeding very well. But as far as like a show that is supposed to like represent, and like the fact that we have seen a decline in queer storytelling, especially queer intersectional storytelling, the fact that we're all resorting back to like the cis white gayness of like a coming out moment and like a college thing that doesn't even feel rooted in things.
Boring.
It's boring. I'm high key hating.
He's been trying to make a show for a long time. And one of my mentors is a television director, was a showrunner of Girls. And he like had sent me this script and he's like, do you know this guy? It was like 5 years ago. And I was like,
I know.
Don't make this. I know. Said, don't make this.
It's one of those things where I'm like, we already have really brilliant shows like, Sex Lives of College Girls, which unfortunately just got canceled. And I just continue to think about what it means for a moment like now and the climate that we're in for a show like this to exist. And I've just kind of been like sitting with this idea of like, we're seeing such a huge decline in storytelling that, streamers are picking up and things we're picking up where like, there's no like people of color on the cast except for like maybe one like Asian person on the cast of white people. And I just am kind of like,
back.
It's really
I think
sad.
we're going
maybe
back. No, I think the big networks and conglomerates and whatever may be moving backwards, but I think honestly the root of the people is in more people powered things. It's hard for the TikTok generation to watch Netflix because it's just a bunch of stuff that they can tell people are trying to like sell them that doesn't relate to them anymore, which is why they're everybody's so drawn in something where you get to hear stories from real people, their real power, their perspectives, and it has ideas on everything. The algorithm is constantly refreshing to tailor itself to whatever you're into right now. So.
I know. It's just, I don't want to like, there's a world where I'm like very grateful that there's like queer storytelling on the air. Like I think it's necessary and needed, but I'm also still like, that's not going to stop me from pushing and wanting more. And so overcompensating works for what it's doing. Shout out to Charlie XCX for being the music supervisor, even though for me, I feel like she did not do what I thought she was going to do. But I hope everyone is like enjoying it. And like I said, it was funny when it was funny, but to sit here and be like, oh, this show exists, womp womp. Anyway,
no, it's not for you. It's not for any of us, clearly. And they don't want it to be.
Well, Ben, what's your high key?
I'm high key thankful this week, actually. Like, I'm actually kind of like feeling gushy. You guys always make fun of me. I'm the Cancer, right? Cancer sun, Aries moon, Cancer rising. All right. And I'm just feeling thankful because this is our first episode. We just finished it. And I'm kind of like sitting with that. We've been working on this for a really long time.
Yeah.
It's actually been years in the making. And it's like a dream. It was a dream of mine. It's a dream of all of ours. And we're making it together. It's just been such a fun experience. And I'm thankful for everyone who's listening right now, right? Like, if you are still listening to the episode at this moment, like, you are a real one. And I'm thankful for you. And I'm thankful to have the opportunity to have a space to have these conversations. Like, when I first like freaking pitched this show, I was like, there's no space for us to have conversations like this. It's what you're talking about, Ryan, where it's like, there's lots of spaces that are having gay conversations, and that's great.
Yeah.
But the intersection of our identities, I think, create this space that hopefully shows people who don't feel like they hear themselves enough, that there are people like them out there, that you're not alone, that we can build community. And so I'm just feeling really good. I'm high key thankful. I'm high key ready for more. Yeah, that's me. Eves?
I'm thankful for bad bitches that start fights.
So you're thankful for the Zeus network. Work.
No. Honestly, it's kind of funny because right now I'm just high key all about Rico Nasty's new album, Lethal. Yeah.
On my list of things to listen to.
I really love it because it feels like she's still making this crazy, insane music that I really vibed with. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done without like finding Rico Nasty in the year that Drag Race was all happening for me, because it gave me this space to like scream when the rest of the world was telling me I had to like smile and be polite and like hold all this stuff back in and go and do your job and be a good girl and ha 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 ha. And it was just this like space for like the internal scream. And this album is so cool to watch this alternative artist make, trying to wrestle with how much of this like scream identity is like for the people out there just yassing it, and how much of you just really needs to escape in these other interesting ways. Also, she shouted me out in an interview, and that's pretty cool.
Work.
Okay, humble brag. We love it.
I love her.
All right. Well, yeah, I think that was our first show, huh?
Yeah, that's our show. We did it.
It's kind of crazy. I'm honestly, like you said, been very all the high key feelings, but so grateful to be doing it with you three. I wouldn't imagine doing it with anyone else. And trust me, I've been asked. So yeah, thank you for being you always. And thank the listeners for listening to us. We really appreciate y'all. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. See you next week, everybody. Stay messy, stay obsessed, and stay high key.
High key.